Let's go further in depth now and say hello to Grover Norquist. He's the founder and president of Americans for Tax Reform. Grover, we are grateful that you're Skyping in this morning on America's Forum.
Good to be with you.
Thanks, Grover. Now, first of all, to what Elizabeth Warren has to say, strip away the anti-Republican, anti-House comments. Is there a grain of truth in the problem with the proposal dealing with derivatives?
We've spent a lot of time in the last several years focusing on Obamacare and how it puts government control over all of our health care. Dodd-Frank is almost as big as Obamacare. We just don't see it because it's the government trying to be a banker and an investment banker and running a hedge fund. We are trying to remove some of the most onerous and destructive parts of Dodd-Frank. This was actually a Democrat proposal because people who live in New York know how damaging and expensive Dodd-Frank can be to that industry. We need to look at Dodd-Frank in the same way that we look at Obamacare and take out the parts that are clearly destructive and replace both of those bills. So Warren is right. This is the beginning of deconstructing a very bad, very destructive Obamacare for your bank.
And in this case, it may be a unique situation where the left and right agree, at least on the fine print of derivatives. You know, Grover, the old joke is omnibus should be called ominous because so many provisions are added, stuck on at this time of year like a Christmas tree, but rather than being a gift that keeps on giving, there are some problems with it. Now, leadership has a different point of view. Tom Cole, the Oklahoma Republican, very close to Speaker Boehner, has a differing view with what Elizabeth Warren had to say. Let's take a listen to Tom Cole.
This bill gets a lot of good things done for the American people. It also preserves, the opportunity to do some more going forward. This pension deal is a huge, huge victory for the American people and the American taxpayer.
So we hear Tom Cole. What is good about this bill, Grover? We got about 2 minutes left in this segment.
Okay, there's one big good thing, and it's the most important one. It preserves the sequester, the spending limit. It keeps to the caps. It keeps to the spending limits. Everything under that, there's some little good things and there's some little bad things, but the big victory is keeping the sequester and keeping spending going down as a percentage of GDP on all domestic discretionary spending. Big, big win. Second, there's a bunch of stuff. We cut budgets of the IRS. There was some pension reform that will actually save the government because fewer pensions will go bankrupt. That's important. Remember, the Democrats haven't allowed any bills to pass for the last 2 years. So there are a lot of things here that have bipartisan support, like the pension reform, that are actually crammed into an omnibus that in normal times, if Reid wanted to tell everybody the Republicans won't agree to anything. So what did he do? He didn't allow the Democrats to agree to anything, and he said the Republicans were causing gridlock. Reid's power is waning. That gridlock is reduced. A lot of these things are in the omnibus, or if they didn't get in the omnibus, we'll vote on them one at a time in the next 2 years. This is progress. Does this solve all the world's problems? No. The Democrats had to agree to it. Obama had to agree to it. We still, for the next 2 years, have to live with Obama's veto. We're going to have a lot of small victories, and we need to make sure we don't have any big losses.
And of course, the perception from a lot of grassroots conservative activists is that there are some mighty big problems with the bill. Tell you what, Grover, we're going to step aside, but you've graciously consented to stay with us. When we come back, let's talk more about this bill and about the details on what many of us regard as amnesty, the border, the future, the spending, and a possible vote today on Capitol Hill on this $1 trillion-plus spending bill. More with Grover Norquist as America's Forum continues.